Oh, is it 0? Okay.
Come on,
It's like 2 years ago.
Come on.
Back to our guys now.
There he is.
Finish it.
Oh.
Come on, sprint now, sprint now.
Oh my God.
Go! 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 Go!
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have Pottstown bike race. It is a criterium and is also a PA state championships. This is also a race that I crashed out last year at, actually in a lap, second lap. So I definitely wanted some redemption today, and I was kind of nervous as well coming back to the race where you previously crashed. You know, you kind of want to do better, but you're just not sure how it's gonna go. So that was kind of my fear today. I just wanted to pass the second lap, and then I was gonna be happy. But anyways, you can see it was very wet. So we had a huge downpour right before the race, so it made the road really slippery, and then we also had rain while the race was happening, so it was just overall wet. And before I start, I want to kind of give a huge shout out to my friend Jessy. Jessy raced Cat 4 race before this, and he actually took his time and did a warm-up lap with me. Well, my warm-up lap, his cool-down lap, and kind of showed me what areas of the course and track to avoid. And I don't know if you guys can notice, but on every corner there is at least one manhole cover, and metal, and wet metal is kind of super slippery for your bike. So there was a big Cat 4 crash on one of the manhole covers. There was one crash in this race as well behind me on the manhole cover, and somebody just slipped out. So he pointed out those kind of tricky areas on the course, so I was able to stay away from those. So that was really good. And very grateful for Jessy. I will post his Instagram down below. He posts a lot of cool bike videos, a bunch of crashes on his stories for some reason. So if you guys are into that, I'll give him a follow. But anyway, we are now here. It is lap 2. And my goal this race, well, first of all, I had a strategy that I was going to go and try and break away kind of like halfway through the race. So I was going to relax in the field and just kind of surf wheels, and then when I kind of feel that the race is getting slower, or the guys are getting tired, I was going to do a big attack and then try and solo to the end. But as I'm standing on the start, I'm looking around, and I see that almost everybody has at least one teammate. Now when I was looking at this race online, usually like when you sort by teams, you kind of see like there is a team with like 5 or 6 riders. That's a big team, so they're gonna control the race. But I don't really look at how many people have at least one teammate. It's just not something I mean, in hindsight probably should look at that, but I did not see a huge team. There was one team with 4 riders, I believe, but I think that I raced that team a couple of times before, and they were never that dangerous, or I guess they didn't know how to really control the race, so I didn't feel or think that they would be dominant. But anyway, sitting at the start, I'm like, man, there's 7 teams or 8 teams or whatever. So there's no way that somebody just gonna solo stay away, because the teams are gonna be attacking. So I had to quickly rethink my strategy. And so what I come up with was that I was just gonna stay in the field, surf wheels. I'm gonna let the teams attack each other. And if there was if there's a possibility of me getting into a break with them, great, if there's a right composition. Otherwise, I would try and just let the other teams kind of cover and, bring others back. If there was a super dangerous move with more than 3 teams or 4 teams represented, then I was going to, work hard and stitch the field together. Because in my kind of opinion is, the more the field stays together, the more those teams have to send people ahead and attack, the more they get tired, and the more they get tired by chasing those attacks. And meanwhile, I'm just literally sitting in a field and almost doing nothing. So that actually, worked out really well and really good in my case. So I was able to, kind of do what I wanted in this race. And I think a little bit of that comes down to conditions and stuff. People weren't taking the corners super aggressive, or there was no like very, very aggressive attacks, which was very kind of like, it probably neutered the race a little bit more. but overall I'm happy with how I executed. This was, I think, the first race where I was able to clearly think about my strategy and actually do what I wanted. So really happy with how my racing skills are developing. And also, I think for new riders, this is something that was in my head, or this is something I was thinking about before. You have a lot of people that will look at your races, or will try and give you advice, and will just say like, try and follow the wheel better, or try and go into this gap, or try and do this and that. Well, it's very easy to say that. It's very easy to sit on a couch, look at a race, and say this is where you should be. It's very important to realize how you yourself do those things in a race, right? Because I can look at myself racing or somebody else and say, oh, I need to follow this wheel. But when you're in a race, and you're for me, for example, I'm way X amount of weight, I'm this strong, and this is my speed, this is my momentum, and then you kind of real time try to analyze and calculate in your head how much speed, when to brake, when to do all these little things to get to that spot to the wheel. And that's something you don't really learn until you're actually raced enough for you to know exactly when to pedal, right? Coming out of a corner, I can say get right to that wheel, but until I did it enough times, I'm not actually gonna know how much I need to accelerate to get to that wheel. So anyway, I think that's finally coming together for me in a sense where I know exactly how much power I need to use, how much whatever, all those metrics in my head. I'm kind of like figuring out exactly what I need to be where I need to be. So really happy with how that is turning out and coming along in my racing. So let's jump back to the race real quick. As you can see, this is kind of what was happening the whole race. So right now, right here, we have 3 guys representing the break. I believe there was about 7 or 8 teams. I forget, as I'm not gonna look it up right now. But 3 is kind of like coming to the point where, okay, I want to make sure that I am getting closer to the front, making sure that if somebody bridges across another team, that I can also bridge across, or I can bring it back. So that's why I'm kind of trying to move myself up there. It's kind of hard also. You want to avoid the painted lines on the road when it's wet. So a lot of things are a little bit different than a normal racing when you're racing like this. And this backside of the course is a hill. So people usually, or the group will usually get bunched up right here. So I knew that if I bring enough speed and momentum through the pass finish line straight, I was gonna get up to the hill with good momentum and good speed, and I'm able to usually either pass everybody or just stay in a field in a group. No one's gonna really get away. And here, so the break that it was 3 people is now 2, and so I don't think this is dangerous, so I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to let somebody else bring this back. So we had Jacob here, good friend of mine. He's up from New York. I think he moved to PA, so I didn't even know that, but he was actually racing for a PA championship, state championships here, which was kind of a surprise at the end. But so yeah, anyway, so we have 2 people in the front, and so yeah, again, I don't think that's dangerous, so I'm just going to leave them dangling, leave them just working hard while we are going 31 miles an hour right now, which is pretty fast. So I don't think they're going to stay away. And again, I'm taking the front, but I'm not doing anything. I'm just keeping the speed rolling, keeping this momentum high and the speed about 30. Like, you don't really need to push any. If you're going 30 miles an hour, you don't have to do 600-700 watts. You're just going to get to 33 miles an hour, and you're going to have to brake through the corner. It's just not worth it. And we're still going, well, now we're slowing down, but as you can see, we're already catching up to those 2 guys in a break. So I'm really, really not worried. And we have attacks flying and stuff going around, but again, I'm pretty confident that other teams will be, bringing this back. Okay, now let's jump to lap 7. We just passed the finish line straight, and this is where we actually had a pretty dangerous break happen, or something that I felt like was, something I had to keep my eyes on and not let, get too much space. So as we can see here, there are 3 guys ahead, there are 2 guys chasing. I'm thinking that once these two guys catch up to the three, if they catch up, the brake is just gonna fall apart. But that's not what happens, and it's not something to expect every time. But let's watch this a little bit here. So now I'm trying to, I do kind of notice that there's too many people ahead now, and I can't stay behind these guys. And these guys the group kind of fell apart, and it felt like they were pretty tired at this point of the race. I mean, it's still early, but you just don't know with people. So I kind of take it upon myself here to try and get to those guys ahead. But now, they have enough space. So this is basically what I was gonna do, and this was my plan from the start, right? If there is something that looks dangerous, I will stitch it back up. So there is like about 10 guys, I think, behind me right now, just drafting, and I'm here just drilling and trying to at least bridge up to the first three. So I'm getting into my TT position here and just rolling and keeping the speed high. And I believe somewhere here we end up making the contact. Again, this corner down here was very, very tricky because you're going at 30 plus miles an hour in the rain. It just doesn't feel super comfortable. And I know that, it took me at least, I'd say 10 laps to figure out what the speed is that I need to bring to the corner, or what the limit is. Obviously I didn't go over the limit because I would have crashed, but I did have my wheels skid out a couple of times, which is, a pretty good sign that, okay, maybe I shouldn't be going this fast, or maybe I shouldn't lean as much. So, but anyway, yeah. So right now the field is back together. It was very easy to demotivate the breakaways on this day. And every time when, as soon as they see that they're getting caught, people would just, pretty much stop working. Where a lot of times, like, person that is trying to catch you is working a lot harder than you, and if you just keep that gap, no matter how small, no matter if it's closing, if you can keep it going, you never know when the guy that's trying to bridge is gonna just not be able to do it anymore. But yeah, I was pretty happy that I was able to keep the field together as much as possible this race. All right, and now jumping to lap 21. And to be honest with you, nothing really interesting happens in this race. So the race is pretty much two teams get in a break with two guys, the other teams bring it back, or I stitch it back together, and that's about it. So it was kind of like very passive race from my perspective. But sometimes I feel like the most passive, quote unquote passive, and boring races are the ones, they seem like that to you because you're executing really well. So I think if the race seems super hectic and fast all the time, it's probably because you're reacting to a lot of moves and shit, or maybe you're attacking, but like your attacks just make no sense sometimes. If I'm gonna attack, it's a planned attack usually, or like when I really think that I can get away. If it's just kind of like, well, I'll show you right now. This was a terrible attack by me right here. This is one time I tried to attack, is I feel the field really slowed down here, and I went, but I did not go fast enough, and I think the guys also went at the same time ahead, so they kind of like just cut me off in a corner. So then I kind of just decided not to go with the attack. But the field was really slow at that point, and I felt like maybe I could do something. But after I saw these guys accelerate and kind of cut me off, I was just like, you know what, let's just let it be, because we have 10 more laps from here. And I could see that as soon as I attacked, there was at least two guys from two different teams that jumped straight on my wheel, which kind of was telling me that I was being marked by some people, which was confirmed later after the race. So I didn't want to spend my energy for no reason. But back to the first point, yeah, so I don't know, this race I had a really good execution and plan going into it. So the race was super fun, whatever, and everything, but from like the overall perspective, it kind of may seem boring. But I mean, it's not boring, but I hope you guys know what I'm trying to say. As long as you're doing stuff right, and you're in control, it feels less hectic. And I think hectic is sometimes fun, at least it is for me. And again, we have attacks flying and then people bringing it back. So nothing super interesting going on here. All right, and we're jumping to lap 29, last 2 laps of the race. I just want to show you guys the exact moment where I moved up and what my thinking was there. So this is 2 laps to go. There's a couple of guys behind me, but this is pretty much the field. I am expecting that somebody is going to attack here or a 1 lap to go. That always happens. So I'm ready. I see somebody go here. So I do put the down power, but I think everybody was expecting this, so everybody just accelerates right away. I'm right on the wheels. I'm trying to not get caught off, on the wrong foot. And then the guy that was attacking, as soon as he sees that everybody's there, he just kind of stops. So that's good. Well, it was good for me. But yeah, compared to my other races, I think I was a lot more aggressive in the last 2 laps. Before, when I would race, I would just kind of think that I need to save all my energy for the sprint. I need to be fresh. But I realized that that's not really the case. You pretty much go all out last 2 laps, and then you sprint if you can, right? I mean, depends how much energy you can save. You obviously want to be protected and whatever, but even if you're behind somebody's wheel, it's going so fast at the end that you're still pushing way over threshold just to be in a draft. So that was kind of my mentality here, is just go with it, go with every move, make sure I'm in a good position. So here, this is last lap to go, or lap to go. I'm sitting pretty bad spot actually right now. So the guys in the front did get a little bit of a gap, but I can see that we are catching them on the incline here, on this climb, whatever, kicker, really fast. So I'm now sitting like 7th wheel, and I'm thinking I need to go. And as I'm thinking I'm going to go, this guy passes me and I get right on his wheel. So now he's bringing me all the way to the front. So this is pretty much a free ride to the front of the race. And then I see a guy, his name is Liam, fighting me for the wheel. And I'm like, okay, you can take it, because being 3rd wheel in a sprint is actually, I think, better. Plus I know that a guy in front just did a massive attack to get to the front of the field. So if we go down to the sprint and he's a little tired and he sits up, I can easily go around. 2 corners to go. The corner that we just passed, there was a crash behind us, so that crash happened and we had a gap. So from this point on, I knew that it was just gonna be the 3 of us. There was nobody else that was gonna catch us, because of the crash, unfortunately. But here we took the last corner. I did touch my brakes. The guy in front skids his wheel, and I attacked right away. I hit a pretty good sprint, and I end up taking the race. So I did win the race. I won the Pottstown Crit, and I am the PA state champion for category 3, which isn't as exciting as category 1, but it's a start. So I will take it. I'm happy with this. I did not crash. I think it's the best possible redemption that I could have had on this course and for this course. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. And I hope you guys stay tuned. We have some more races coming up. With my A race being in September, Green Mountain Stage race. So I will be doing a lot of climbing in September, something that I haven't done at all this year. I think my total yearly elevation right now is 100 feet. So it's gonna be fun. So stay tuned, guys. Have a good one.